All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. Okay, I think we back up, brothers and sisters that's in the studio. I think we fell off for a minute, but we're live now. All praises to the Most High. All right, we already done our prayer. We already went before the Most High. Yah. We're gonna get right into the lessons before we have any more problems. So as you can see, by the title, today's lesson is the secret killing of the Israelites. That is the secret killing of the Israelites, the mechanism of death, the secret killings of the Israelites, the mechanism of death. Now, the mechanism of death is that white supremacy system. But there are variables. There are variables, brothers and sisters. And in these variables, there are mechanisms that are used systematically to destroy the children of Israel. So we have to protect ourselves in the way that the Most High has given us, in the way that the Most High has given us the fortitude and the ability to protect ourselves. What is that? What is that? We have to use the tools of the Bible. That's the only way we can protect ourselves. We have to utilize the tools of the Bible, which was given to us at our disposal, that will help us or enable us to overcome. So let's get to the scripture. Let's get to Ephesians. Let's get to Ephesians. All right. And we're going to go to Ephesians, the 6th chapter of Ephesians. We're going to start at 11th verse, and we're going to read on down to 17. Ephesians 6 and 11 through 17. It reads, put on the whole army of Yah, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. So standing against the wiles of the devil, standing against the wiles of the devil is mental preparation and the ability to strategically practice for the ensnaring deception of our enemies, that you might be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. I'll say again, those wiles of the devil is mental preparation. It's the ability to strategically practice for the ensnaring of the deception of our enemies. Verse 12. For we wrestle not against first flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world. So who are those rulers of darkness of this world? Let's go to Job real quick. Job 9 and 24. Do I have any readers in the room?
You
Deacon
can't
People, I
hear
believe
me?
you up now. I couldn't hear you before. I can hear you now. Job 9 and 24.
Job 9 and what?
And 24.
Job 9 and 24. Oh goodness. Hold on one second. Job 9 verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the face of the judges thereof. If not,
So the
where?
wicked, and who is he? So the wicked is in rulership of this world. Let's read verse 12 again. Ephesians 6 and 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness of this world. The wicked is in rulership in this world. Let's go to Romans 13 and 1 through 5. Romans 13, chapter 13, verse 1 through 5.
Romans 13, 1 through 5. Then Job answered and said, I know it is so of a
Romans,
yeah, that's
Romans
what
13.
that's what it took me to.
Let every soul be subject to the higher powers. Romans 13 and 1.
Romans 13 and 1. Yeah, keeps giving me the same thing. I don't know what's going on with this phone.
I'll read it. You might have to go out and come back in, and then let it reset or something.
All right.
Romans 13 and 1. I'll look for you. Romans 13 and 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher power, for there is no power but of Yah. The powers that be are ordained of Yah. So these rulers of darkness are ordained by the Most High Yah. I say again, these rulers of darkness are ordained by Yah. Let me read verse 1 again, just in case it's not clear. Just in case it's not clear to you. Just in case it's not clear. Romans 13 and 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher power, higher powers, for there is no power but of Yah. There is no power, no strength. There is no power but of Yah. Let that sink into your minds. The powers that are ordained are of Yah. So the powers that are ordained are of the Most High Yah. I'm telling you, this technology is really trying to stop us today. I don't know what's going on here. But it is really trying us. Brother John, if you can text Aki AD and send him the link, please. I don't know what's going on here. All right. Romans 13 and 2. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth therefore resisteth the ordinance of Yah. So if you resist these powers of darkness, you actually resist Yah. Seem like a strange thing to say, right? Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of Yah. And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. And when you resist these powers of darkness, you receive to yourself damnation. This is a strange verse here. You mean the Most High Yah wants me to submit to powers of darkness? That could not possibly be what the scripture is saying here, right? Let's get verse 3. For rulers are not a terror to good works. Let me read it again. Rulers are not a terror to good works. All right. Romans 13 and 4. Romans 13 and 3. For rulers are not a terror to good works. Watch this, but to the evil. Will thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. So if you do what is right, or you do what is right before the Most High Yah, you should not have any issues. If you do what is right, then you, brothers and sisters and brothers, you should not have any issues. Because if you wasn't still breaking in houses, you wouldn't have been shot. If you wasn't stealing cars, chances are, brothers and sisters, you wouldn't be in prison. So the rulers of darkness are only a terror to those who are in perpetual sin. Uh-oh. He shot him, and he wasn't doing nothing but doing something illegal. Well, they ain't a terror to what's right. They're a terror to what's wrong. I want y'all to understand. There's a mechanism to killing the Israelites. There's a secret to it. And the secret is out. Because chances are you're not going to get put to death if you're living right. Chances are you're not going to get put to death if you're living right. Very often, those of us, when the enemies put those folks to death, very often they was doing something they shouldn't have been doing. They was in some form of sin or another. Very often. This is one form, this is one variable of death. Verse 5. Wherefore, ye must needs to be subject, not only for wrath, but also for good conscience sake. So you have to be smart and use wisdom to preserve our people, to preserve not only your life, brothers and sisters, but to also preserve your people. Let's get Ephesians 6 again. Ephesians 6 and 13. Do I have any readers in the room? Ephesians 6 and 13. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of Yah, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth. About with truth is these laws. Your loins being girded about is these laws. And having the breastplate of righteousness. Now, the breastplate of righteousness is wisdom. Is wisdom. Wisdom, brothers and sisters. The breastplate serves as protection for some of the most important parts of your body. Underneath the breastplate is the heart, the lungs, the organs necessary for life. Wisdom, brothers and sisters, preserves that. Wisdom preserves that. So this armor works in this way. It builds the spirit up and it protects the spirit. And notably, as we read in Romans, it protects the body. Not only does it build the spirit, but it protects the body. Let me get James real quick. And this is why we need this breastplate, brothers and sisters. This is why we need this breastplate. This is why we need it. James 1 and 14. This is why we need to gird those loins up. James 1 and 14. But every man is tempted. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away into his own lust and enticed. Then when lust has conceived, meaning you played with that thing long enough. You had, for the lack of a better term, you had foreplay with that thing long enough. Now it's conceived. That's right. You handled it long enough. You played with it long enough. But now lust is conceived in you. And it's not just talking about in a sexual way. Anything that your flesh lust after, you've played with it long enough. Now it is conceived. And when it is conceived, it brings forth sin. It produces the sin that you was lusting for. And when it produced that sin or that transgression or that disobedience, when it's done with you, it produces death. Now you understand why I went to Romans. Because your lust, when it is conceived, produces death. Is another mechanism or variable of sin. Ephesians 6 again. Ephesians 6 and Ephesians 6 and 15. And when your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, above all, take the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation. And take the helmet of salvation. All praises. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yah. So, what are those fiery darts, brothers and sisters? What are those fiery darts of the wicked? The fiery darts of the wicked is that mechanism or established process by which something takes place or is brought forth so that one can create an atmosphere, watch this, that is conducive for what they need to bring about your demise as an Israelite. I know I said a mouthful, but let me say it again. That fiery dart that you need the breast for, that you need the helmet for, and that you need the sword for is to help you fight against the mechanism that white supremacy have established in this system, whereby the process in which it takes you is brought about, where it creates an atmosphere that is conducive for what you need to bring, what they need to bring your demise. This is what is used. This is how white supremacy is used. White supremacy uses the procedure, the process, the system, the operation, the method, the technique to bring about your destruction as the children of Israel. It is used to wipe you out. Is the video? Can we cue the video? Can we bring the video up, or are we down? Say again. Are we down? Yes or no? All right. All praises. Okay, we can't play the video. I'm sorry about that, but we'll move on. So, what we need the armor for? We need the armor to stand against the wiles of the devil, not only to keep us safe, but to multiply us from the face of the enemy. That's what we need the wow. That's what we need the armor for. So let's get wisdom of Solomon. Let's get wisdom of Solomon, um, 10 and 9. Wisdom of Solomon, 10 and 9. I think I'm going to read on down to verse 12. But wisdom delivereth from pain those that attain upon her. Let me read it again. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10 and verse 9. But wisdom delivereth from pain those that attend upon her. When the righteous fled from her brother's wrath, she guided him in the righteous path, showed him the kingdom of Yah, and gave him knowledge of holy things, made him rich in his travels, and multiplied the fruit of his labors. Watch this. In the covetousness of such as oppressed him. So this is the covetousness of the oppressor, or those who rule darkness. Those who rule darkness. Watch this. She stood by him and made him rich. So what did that mean? So those that set in motion the events to kill the children of Israel, wisdom stands by them, but helps them by giving them the necessary tools they need to come out of whatever situation they're in and to live, because wisdom stands by them. But if you don't utilize the tool that the Most High has given you, you lose. We lose as a people. We're not talking about winning individually anymore. That's out. We have to cut that out. That's out. It's not about you. It's about us. And when you start thinking in terms of us, then you are doing what the Most High has asked of you, to love your brother as yourself, to prefer your brother, to prefer your brother before yourself. Verse 12. She defended him. Verse 12. She defended him from her enemies, kept him safe from those that lay in wait. And in sore conflict, she gave him the victory, that he might know that goodness is stronger than all. She gave our father Jacob in the face of his brother, because that's who it's referring to. The struggle between Jacob and Esau gave Jacob the victory because he had obtained, or he tapped into, or he utilized the tool of wisdom. Wisdom will help you recognize those entities that wants to destroy you, and those that lie in wait in secret to kill you. There's more than one way to kill something. When we think of killing, we always go to killing you physically. But what did Yahweh say? The one that can kill the body and the soul. There's one way. There's more than one way to destroy you. You could physically still be here, but your mind is totally destroyed. As I said in the beginning, that there are variables to the mechanism of death. Let's see in what way. Let's see in what way that the government secretly tries to destroy the children of Israel. I want to bring this out. This is a summary, though. This is a summary of HR. It's called HR 812. It is from a law that was implemented of the 111th Congress. This is the Obama years between 2009 and 2010. So this is just an excerpt of the actual law. The law reads, it is a common sense consumption act of 2009. It prohibits new and inquires dismissal of pending civil actions by any persons against the manufacturer. This is against the business, against manufacturers, against the maker, against the distributor, against the advertiser, or the seller of food. This is a strange law because if you care about people, you should be trying to protect the people and not big business. You should be trying to protect the people and not big business. But there's a secret, and we're going to expose the secret today. This is one of the variables. Laws like this, because we don't pay attention. We don't pay attention. We don't pay attention because it's more than one way to destroy a people. There's more than one way to destroy a people. They don't always have to drag you out the house and take you to an internment camp and gun you down. They gun you down at the grocery store. Big ups to my daughter Sheree, because she used to always say when they was children in the house and I be talking to them, fussing or just talking, she always be like, "Daddy talking good." That's all I heard in my head. Daddy talking good. I know I'm talking good, talking right. This is the Common Sense Consumption Act of 2009. It prohibits new and requires dismissal of pending civil actions against persons, manufacturers, makers, distributors, advertisers, sellers of food, and or trade associations. Watch this. This is what it protects them from. It protects them from injury related to persons' accumulated acts of consumption of food and weight gain, obesity, or any associated health condition, anything. So if you eat something and it gives you high blood pressure, you eat something and it gives you, and it is the reason why you are obese because of something that you are consuming, you can't sue for that. But we gonna put garbage in your food and in your community. That's right. We're gonna put garbage in your food and in your community. Because we're attacking where you live. We're attacking you at your stove, at your refrigerator, at your sinks. We don't have to pull no guns on you. That's right. We pulling out the big guns. It's called the kitchen. Number one, any action brought by a person other than the persons of whose weight gain, obesity, health, condition, or action is based, and two, any uh, derivative action brought on by on the behalf of any person or any representative, spouse, parent, child, or other related persons, meaning it protects your wife can't sue on your behalf, your mother can't sue on your behalf, your father can't do anybody, your uncle, whatever. You dead and gone because of what you know, the poor trash that you've been consuming, and no one can do anything about it. None of your relatives. Okay, let me read on. Excludes from this prohibition any action alleging a breach of express, watch this, alleging a breach of express contract or express warranty, provided that the groups of recovery and unrelated are unrelated to a person's weight gain, obesity, and related health condition, and knowing violation of a federal or state, watch this, a knowing violation. I need y'all to listen to Esau's words. A knowing violation of federal or state statute applicable to the marketing, advertisement, label, meaning they can lie, of statute applicable to the marketing, advertisement, labeling of food, with intent for a person to rely on that violation, where such person relied on the violation, and where such reliance on the approximate cause of injury related to the person's weight gain, obesity, or related health condition or death. A violation brought by Federal Trade Commission (FTC) under the Federal Trade Commission Act, or by the Food and Drug Administration (FDA) under the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. There's a war on the children of Israel, brothers and sisters. Let's get Daniel 7:21. This is one of them days where I wish I had a reader. Daniel 7:21. Can't always have a reader though. Daniel 7:21. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. So, how did they prevail over us? Because we still here. In what way? Yeah, they took us in slavery, but pretty soon, after a couple hundred years, the chains were no longer necessary. They didn't need to put them chains on us no more, because they had prevailed over us, and we were in a continual state of being overcome. A continual state of being overcome. I brought the brothers up. If they're able to read, by all means.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. Well, I can read.
Daniel 7:21.
Daniel 7, verse 21. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them.
And prevailed against us. How did they prevail? They took us in slavery. How's they still prevailing? They are making laws to overcome us and keep us in a state, or a perpetual state of servitude, and slavery. Let me say this, brothers and sisters. By controlling our resources, we are still in a state of captivity perpetually. We are continually still being nourished before the face of our enemies. Let me get Revelations 12 and 14 right quick. Revelations 12 and 14.
Revelation 12, verse 14. And to the woman, were given two wings of a great eagle, that she might fly
Mm-hmm.
into the wilderness, into her place,
Read.
where she is
Mm-hmm.
nourished for a time, and times,
Uh-huh.
and half a time,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
from the face of the serpent.
So from the face of the servant mean from the face mean uh in his general area. From his face mean his power, under his control. From don't mean away from him. From mean before him. Mean he has authority over you. From his face. Let's get Deuteronomy 28 and 51. He nourishes us. So he controls us. So if he controls us, he holds us captive, and he's able to kill at will. I want y'all to understand, because this is very important. This is very important. He's able to kill at will. And you don't have to come in your house and kill you. He got to drag you off to some FEMA camp. He just poison the grocery store. That's all. Because you gotta eat. He poisoned the grocery store. Yeah. He set you on fire that way. Deuteronomy 28 and 51.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 51. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle, and the fruit of
Mm-hmm.
thy lands,
Come on.
until thou be destroyed,
Read.
which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. Can you hear me?
Oh, nah, then you went out. This devil is really messing with this system today. He don't want this good word to get out. I understand. I would want it to get out. Deuteronomy 28 and 50.
Deuteronomy 28 and 51. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle, and the fruit of thy
Mm-hmm.
lands, until thou be
Come on.
destroyed, which also shall not
Until you
leave
are
thee.
mentally destroyed. Not your body, but you are mentally, until you are mentally destroyed, and then eventually physically destroyed. Let's read on.
Which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or
Food,
oil,
value, or wealth. Corn,
or
food,
the
wine, value, or oil, wealth. Read on.
increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee.
Until he has destroyed you, until he has systematically destroyed you. The rulers of this world, the ruler and prince of powers of this world, through his principalities, destroys you. Back up. Man, I don't know what's going on today. We don't normally have these issues, so it must be something that's being said today. So, brothers and sisters, if you don't control your resources, tell you something. Guess what? You're still a slave. You're still a slave. If you don't control your resources, you are still a slave. Marcus Garvey had a famous quote. He had a famous quote, and I quote, "Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. The chains that's physically come off, you have uh, uh, you have taken off those chains, physical chains that bear you down, but it's your mind, brothers and sisters. It's your mind. Those mental chains, and you have to emancipate yourself from those." End quote. Now, controlling our resources is a way uh, that our enemies have systematically killed us, and the lack of those real resources has been used as a mechanism for the destruction of Israel. So when we left Egypt, brothers and sisters, Pharaoh tried the same thing. The Bible has always left us evidence in how the enemy or how our enemies operate. So when we left Egypt, Pharaoh tried to control our resources and our food because he understood this concept. He understood that if I control your food, then I control you. Limiting their resources by controlling their food. Let's go to the scripture. Exodus 10. Exodus 10, 22 through 28. Watch this. Exodus 10, 22 through 28.
Exodus 10, 22 through 28. And Moses stretched
Mhm.
forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They saw
Mhm.
not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the children of
Mhm.
Israel had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh
Come
called unto
on.
Moses and said, Go ye,
Watch.
serve the Most High. Only let your flocks and your herds be stayed. Let your little ones also go
So
with you.
only let your flocks and your herds stay here. If I control your resources, I control you. So go and worship like you said you wanted to do. Go and worship. But your flocks and your herds, they're staying here. All of your grains, litnos, and all that, that's in Goshen. That's mine already because it's attached to the land. But anything that you can move as a resource, that's not going. Because Pharaoh understood if I control the resource, I control the people, no matter where they're at. You can go off and worship uh, your God. You can go worship your God. But if I control your resource, I control you. Verse 24 again.
And Pharaoh called unto Moses and said, Go ye, serve the Most High. Only let your flocks and your herds be stayed. Let your
Mhm.
little ones also go with you.
Read on.
And Moses said, Thou must give us also sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice unto the Most High Yah.
Come on.
Our cattle also shall go with us. There
So
shall
this is a
not
measure of wealth. Y'all understand what these men are doing. These are two very powerful men. They're in a conversation, more than a conversation. They're in a power struggle at the moment that this conversation is taking place. And Moses is saying, hey, listen, our cattle has to go with us. There should not be a hoof left behind because Moses understands this is a measure of wealth. This is a measure of what this is how you measure wealth by the how much resource I have. And if we leave our resources, then we don't have wealth. I want y'all to plainly see what these scriptures are saying. If we leave without a resource, we don't have wealth. Read on.
Our cattle also shall go with us. There shall not a hoof
Mm-hmm.
be left behind. For
Mm-hmm.
therefore must we take to serve the Most High, Yah, and we
Mm-hmm.
know not with what we must serve the Most High until we
Uh-huh.
come until we come there.
Come on.
But the Most High hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let
Mm-hmm.
them go.
Read.
And Pharaoh said unto him, Get thee from me, take heed to
Uh-huh.
thyself, see my
Come
face
on.
no more.
Come on.
For in that day thou seest my face, thou shalt die.
You shall die. He's going to put him to death because he's tired of arguing with him about the money, about the wealth. This is an argument about the resource, about who's going to control it, and about the wealth. I need y'all to understand because oftentimes Israelites they can't put the two together. They can't put your wealth and resource and equate it with money and under it with your spirit rather. It's like we got to be in the spirit all the time. But money runs the world. We're in the world. We're not of the world, but we have to utilize resources to be in here. Just pie in the sky, looking up in the sky, pie in the sky, and we suffering the whole time. So the abundance of resource is a measure of wealth, and whoever controls the food, I want y'all to hear me. The reason why I'm focusing on food is because whoever controls the food are the masters. Whoever controls the food are the masters because people eat every day, 365 days a year. Folk are putting food in their mouth. Should be 364 for us because of atonement. but people, but people are putting food in their mouths. Genesis 34. Here's an example of controlling food and food equaling wealth. Who's the master and who's the slave? Let's get Genesis 34 and 27.
Genesis 34 and 27. The sons of Jacob came up upon the slain and spoiled the city because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep and their oxen and their asses and that which was in the city and that which was in the field. And all their wealth and all their little ones and their wives took they captive and spoiled even all that was in the house.
Let's
And
read it over again. Let me expound a little bit. Let's read it 27 through 29.
Genesis 34 and 27. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain and spoiled the city because they had defiled their sister.
So Dana was raped and then married and taken to the house of these heathens, right? Verse 28. Watch this. Watch what her brothers did. Watch this.
They took their sheep and their
Come on.
oxen and their
Read.
asses and that which
Read.
was in the city and that which was in the field.
So they took the resources that was in the city and they took the resources that was in the field. Watch what the Bible calls it, what they took. Verse 29.
And all their wealth
Read it again.
and all their wealth
One more time.
and all their wealth,
their cattle, their grain, and everything that was in the city as far as resources and in the field is wealth. Is wealth. And because they took their wealth, watch what happens next. Once your wealth is taken, watch what happens next. Come on.
and all their little ones and their wives took they captive, and spoiled even
Slaves,
all
come on.
that was in the house.
And took everything they had. Because he controls the food, controls the market, controls the people. That's right. This system is multi-layered, it's multifunctional, and it is almost perfect. Because folk are not going to stop eating. It's not like you're going to say, "Oh, I'm not eating. I'm not eating." People are not going to stop eating. Let's get Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 28 and 51 one more again. One more time. I think we went over it, but let me hit it again. Deuteronomy 28, 51. Are you up? Are you up? I don't know. You might have dropped out. I can't hear you. I'll read Deuteronomy 28, 51. Deuteronomy 28, 51. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land. So by eating the fruit of the cattle and eating the fruit of the land, it's taking your wealth. And he shall eat the fruit of that cattle and the fruit of that land. He's taking your wealth until it has been destroyed, until you have been mentally destroyed. Not physically wiped off the earth, but you have mentally destroyed. Which also uh, shall not leave thee either corn, which is food, wine, which is money, or oil, excuse me, which is resources of the increase of that kind, or flocks, or sheep, or control, I should say, of your life in any way. So if you take the flocks of your kind, if you take your grain, if you take your corn, you take your wealth, it doesn't leave you in control of anything until they have destroyed you, meaning he has reduced you and made you useless. He's not worried about you. He's not. This enemy is not worried about you. He controls the land. He controls food. He controls the resource. And it's been a plan of his for a very, very long time. Now I'm going to go to Psalms. Now I'm going to go to Psalms. Psalm 64, 1 through 6. Psalm 64, 1 through 6. Hear my voice, O Yah, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongues like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in evil, in an evil manner. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? They do this. They make plans for years ahead of time and put them in action too. Verse 6. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. This wicked system that they have created, brothers and sisters, runs very deep. The wickedness that they think of runs very deep, very deep. All right. Our forefathers, brothers and sisters, as I said before, experienced similar situations. And we have to seek out the scriptures to find how did they deal with these issues. Go to Daniel. We're almost done here. Let's go to Daniel, the first chapter, the eighth. I'm gonna start at the eighth verse. I may read down to 17. I'm not sure. Daniel 1 and 8. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore, he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now Yah had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord, the king, who have appointed your meat and your drink. For why should I see your face worse liking than the children which are of your sort? Then shall ye make me endanger my head to be king, to the king. Verse 11. Then said Daniel to Melser, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Yeshael, and Azariah, prove thy servants, I pray thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. Now I want to say something about this. The original Hebrew word for pulse is zora, which according to the Enhanced Strong's Lexicon literally translate into vegetables. Pulses in this context has typically been said to mean lentils, chickpeas, and some sort of seed type food, right? This means that Daniel could have been asking for either a plant diet or seeds of a plant diet where he can consume things that he controlled. I want y'all to understand that. The king's meat is something that the enemies or his captors controlled. What he was asking for is something that he could control. The king's meat was something that his captors controlled. What Daniel was asking for is something he can control. So it could possibly mean that he was asking for a plant diet or seeds that he could grow, whereby he can grow his own food. He was asking for things such as that consist of grains, nuts, vegetables, and even mushrooms. We won't get into the debate about mushrooms, but even mushrooms, because they have a fruiting body by which it sows its seeds. Potatoes, garlic, beets, carrots, onions make seeds. And the actual seeds themselves, walnuts, almonds, sunflower seeds, cashews, qualify as pulse or may qualify of what Daniel was asking for. The seeds themselves could either be cultivated and controlled by Daniel, which I can prove by going to the commandment we have in Jeremiah. So I'm going to go to Jeremiah real quick. I'm going to come back to Daniel, but let me go to Jeremiah real fast. Jeremiah 29 and 4 through 5. Jeremiah 29, 4 through 5. It reads, Thus saith the Almighty of hosts, the Yah of Israel, unto all that are carried away captive. These men and women are carried away captive. They're carried away captive, right? Thus saith the Almighty of hosts, the Yah of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon. Watch this. Build ye houses. This is in captivity. And dwell in them in captivity. Watch this. And plant gardens in captivity and eat the fruit of them. Controlling your resource. Controlling your resource. Let's go back to Daniel now. Let's go back to Daniel 1 and 13. Then let our continents be looked upon before thee, and the continents of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat. And as thou seest, deal with thy servants. So he considered to them in this matter, and proved them 10 days. And at the end of the 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter and in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat, mean not controlled, only controlled by their enemies. Thus Melser took away the portion of the meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them the pulse, which this entails that Daniel used wisdom. He used wisdom. As for these four, and in using wisdom, look what happened. Last verse, 17. For these four children, Yah gave them knowledge. When he used wisdom, Yah gave them knowledge, skill, and learning, wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. It's time, brothers and sisters. It's going to be the last precept, but it's time, brothers and sisters, to take control of every facet of our lives. We have to stop stopping short of at just the scriptures. We know Deuteronomy 28. We know Jeremiah. We can break down Isaiah. We know the so-called Immaculate Conception. We can break down all these scriptures, but when it comes to controlling our lives, it's still in the hands of our enemies. When are we going to cease from that? When are we going to stop that? When are we going to no longer be under the curse of the law? Huh? Yeah, ask me about that later. Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon. Last precept, brothers and sisters, wisdom of Solomon. Chapter 10. Let me go to 9 first. Because we read 9 earlier, but it's so heavy, I got on to read it again. Chapter 10, verse 9. But wisdom delivereth from pain those that attend upon her. If you would attend upon the wisdom, meaning you accept wisdom, you seek wisdom, it delivers you from pain. It gets you out of those situations. It gives you the ability to think quickly on your feet, to be able to handle the mechanisms and the variables that we talked about today, to come upon you. What to do. Let me drop down to verse 13. When the righteous was sold, she forsook him not. So when we came into captivity, wisdom didn't forsake us. We forsook her. But now we're back on the right path. So when the righteous was sold, she forsook him not, but delivereth him from sin. She went down with him into the pit. Wisdom will go down. Wisdom would not leave us in bondage. It will go down with us, but it will stay with us. In our disobedience, we go down, but it'll stay with us. And if we accept wisdom, it will raise us up. Verse 14, and left him not in bonds till she brought him the scepter of the kingdom and power against those that oppressed us. So wisdom eventually will help us to overcome our enemies. We ought to seek wisdom. We ought to seek wisdom until we become the rulers of this world, brothers and sisters. As for them that had accused him, she showed them to be liars and gave him perpetual glory. So we're going to get the kingdom once we start utilizing the tool that the Most High gave us, which is wisdom. She delivered the righteous people and blameless seed from the nation that oppressed them. All praises to the Most High. All praises. You see, brothers and sisters, when wisdom is applied to your life and wisdom is sought after in your life, then collectively, brothers and sisters, we become the kings and priests and the nation that the Most High has called us to be. So I pray that your spirits were lifted, and I also pray that you were edified and enlightened. And until next time, brothers and sisters, shalom, shalom. Pray for me, and I will pray for you. Y'all bless you. Y'all keep you. Heaven smile upon you and give you peace. Shalom, shalom.